O'Shea Duke Jackson. Man, thank you very much for being with us, man. I appreciate you. So you created a business in Uganda.
Yes.
Tell us about that very quickly.
Specifically, what do you want me to ask?
I mean, when you came to Africa,
yes.
Why did you first of all choose Uganda, not Kenya, not South Africa, not Rwanda, not Ghana?
Yeah. So good question about Ghana. I've never been, but most of us as African Americans are more likely to go to Ghana.
Okay.
So we have that relationship. You know, Kwame Nkrumah was educated at Lincoln University. It was historically black college in the States. Yeah. W.B. Du Bois died in Ghana. So I was like, when I came to Uganda, I was like, well, nobody's talking about Uganda. Let me try my own path here. And many people were trying to tell me to go to Ghana or Nigeria. Yeah. But I felt like Ghana and Nigeria didn't need me. So I felt like I probably would be more needed here. And I felt like we can get some talent here. Yep. Kenya, I didn't know about right away because I came here first.
You came to Uganda first?
I think if I would have came to Kenya first, I would have stayed there.
In Kenya.
Maybe. Okay. But me coming here first, I wanted to be here. I still want to be here, despite the challenges. So I came into the resolution that nobody knew this style of business. And so when I wanted to do King Ghana Studios here, that was a challenge. We had people who didn't know this style of business. And so we had to go on to the building process of that, which is very difficult. Yep. So I found myself playing recruiter, part of the talent that makes things work, idea man, budgeter, the person who gets the equipment, learning about the equipment.
So it took you time to teach, to get the people to the level of production that you needed?
Listen, even me being patient and learning how to be a better boss, I lost the business before, the whole tire.
Sure.
So it wasn't just them learning, I was learning.
You were learning too.
I was learning.
It's different people, different culture, different mentality.
Yes.
How do you find Ugandans different from Americans in terms of business? Are they different?
I think that
we are in Uganda, fellas. We are right now in Uganda. If you're in Uganda, you want to be part of this, let us know. We move all over Africa, so we're in Uganda right now, Kampala. Thank you. Let's go. O'Shea.
So Americans is more a capitalistic environment. Yeah. Where it's based on merit. It's a society where if you're very smart, you're very intelligent, you can go fast quickly. Doesn't matter your sexuality, race. Race can matter, but you're good, you can produce, you're going to have opportunities. Yeah. Uganda is more or less, what tribe are you from? Are you in this in crowd? And if I can give the opportunity to somebody that I know or that I trust over the person that is very talented or good, then I'm going to do that.
Do you feel like people give each other opportunities based on tribes and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. In
what context? Are you from a tribe, I give you opportunity. You're not from a tribe, you're not going to get the opportunity.
I think that's more. I've seen situations where it doesn't happen. Yeah. But I feel like that is something that I think that people are more comfortable. With people that
from their tribe.
Yes.
So you feel like if you're being brought by somebody who's specifically from a specific tribe, you're most likely going to get the opportunity open to you. Yes. As per if you came with somebody from a different tribe.
That's what I see. I see it in startups. They're all the same tribe usually. If they're not Ankoles, Buganda, Choli, it's like.
So you think certain businesses for Ankole people, certain business for Buganda people?
Yes. Okay. I believe that.
You think churches in Africa, I don't know if you've experienced that, you see a specific church with the pastors probably from one specific tribe and the people are from that specific tribe.
I've never been, but I can see that happening for sure.
Is that a shortcoming for Africa, do you feel?
I think that, okay, what is the term for that when you have nepotism, right? Yeah. I think that it can work in positive ways. I don't have a problem with it as long as that person is talented. If that person is good and they can produce the outcome. I think in Uganda what we're seeing is we have so many talented people in the country who are just not getting the opportunity based on wrong tribe or wrong religion, or it's a problem throughout Africa. Yep. So it stops down the development of a person that might be like my GM now, Rachel. I found her. It's funny when when I first met you at that apartment complex, she was just a GM. She's making like 300,000 shillings a month, and she was cleaning the hotels. That's my general manager now. That's a person that is very intelligent, more intelligent than me in many ways.
What's her name again?
Rachel.
Rachel. Okay.
Yeah. So she's a GM, and we've turned into she's taking the business in more ways than I would ever take it because she just. She's just intelligent.
So O'Shea Duke Jackson just offered the opportunity to some young Ugandans to level up. That's great.
They've also given it to me.
That's great.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's awesome.
And so because of that, and I try to fight with people here every day, this person can swing the bat.
Okay.
Maybe when you're a young fighter, you told me a story, you first got in the ring.
Yeah.
And you knocked the guy out. The guy was like, this guy has the ability.
Sure.
Right? It's just God gave you that ability. Ngannou, God just gave him that ability. Yeah. So let's push this person forward instead of trying to keep the person back because of X, Y, and Z. This person is intelligent. This person is not. Okay? But this person is intelligent.
So do you feel like in Uganda specifically, some very intelligent people do not access certain opportunities just because they're from the wrong tribe?
Yes. Or they just, somebody immediately made me the right tribe and, somebody just doesn't want to give it to them. I believe that this country has just as much talent as anybody else.
Yeah.
But they're gonna unfortunately die with all that talent. It's gonna go to the grave. And so then we don't benefit. You don't benefit as a Congolese brother. The African Americans don't benefit from it. If we had all of our talent, we all as blacks would benefit from it as the development is coming in. But when we don't, we're behind.
Do you feel like you've had any favors done to you because you're Black American?
Yes.
What instance do you feel like you're being favored?
I feel like in this instance of you're from America, we can trust you more than we could trust somebody here. Could not be the truth.
Oh, really?
I could be a liar, right?
Is that for business opportunity?
I believe that Americans, the whites get the most opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something we all know. Mm-hmm. Then the Americans, African Americans, get the second most, or maybe tied, depending on how. If they're lighter,
we're talking about Africa, or we're talking about America? In America?
No, we're talking about in Uganda.
In
right?
Uganda, yeah.
Yes.
So the white Americans get the most opportunities.
Europeans, yes.
Europeans,
yes.
Followed by who?
I would say Black Americans or Black British,
and Black British.
Black Europeans or Black Americans, and then the lighter they are, the more opportunity they would get.
And that's very sad because the reality is, the majority of time in many African countries, many people will come from a different country, from America, and get a very easy opportunity very quickly, much better than a person who actually got the competence to do the job.
It's true.
Local.
It's true.
And sometimes you fall into the hand of a crook, a person who's a liar,
yep,
who doesn't necessarily accomplish the job he said he was going to do.
Yep.
And that is very sad.
It happens, though.
Mm-hmm. But do you feel like you've used that privilege to make some good things for yourself? Because I would, if I went to a place where people... Look, let me put it this way for you.
Yeah.
Okay? I want to make it very, very, very relaxed. An African American in Africa, you have already 2 stars. You haven't even opened your mouth. That's the truth. Most people in Africa, they look at Americans like, oh, American. Mm-hmm. Because obviously it's based on movies. We see Eddie Murphy. We've seen Wesley Snipes.
In your case, Mike Tyson, because you fight like him.
Mike Tyson, because you know what I mean? And when you see an African American, somewhere in the back of your mind, you think you've seen Will Smith or something like that. That's what it is.
I believe it.
You get favors, you get access to things easier than a local person can.
Yes.
Do you feel like you've gotten favors with girls, ladies?
Yes. People are more likely to date you because they feel like you can take care of them.
Do they come forward to you, or do you have to make some effort? Have you had to make some effort?
I mean, let me, before I answer that, let me kind of go back to the favors part. I think in terms of not necessarily from like the government, because I've seen somebody get a big favor like Terrence Howard when he came here.
Yep.
It was incredible. They rolled out. A person like me, you would get more favors from people if you have a business because they feel like you're more likely to pay them. Mm-hmm. You're more likely to have a different business culture. So they might be willing to give you more of an effort and give you more respect than a Ugandan boss.
Okay.
And it will definitely help you more. And I've even been critical of this. Some people in Africa will just even walk you to opportunities because you're a foreigner over somebody that they know. So that has happened. So
you got opportunities over a person they know?
Yes. Because they feel like, oh, well, he can do it. Let me help him do this over somebody else that,
Isn't that because maybe some African under-deliver some Africans? Or they're not meticulous in the job? Like, you complained earlier, you say that some people over-promise, under-deliver. And they feel like maybe by giving an opportunity to an African American, he may be going to do things differently. You don't think that's maybe the reason why?
That could be it. Also, the person is also investing in themselves because if I can do this, then that person can do something for me.
Okay.
That might be the case.
Okay.
But as far as like dating ladies, so as an American, a Black American, a lady will assume that I think over dating somebody from her culture, she would have probably more flexibility in the relationship. Like maybe in her culture, she may have to do certain things daily.
Yeah.
She may feel like you may not require that.
Okay.
You might not require
to be submissive. Don't American needs women to be submissive?
We're more lax on
more relaxed on that.
African men are more masculine in being dominant in the relationships than we are.
Is that what you noticed?
Yeah, African men. Well, we our women run our community in the black in the black community. African men have their fathers, they got their grandfathers, so they have a strong line of understanding dominance. Even when men talk to each other, it's different from how we talk to each other.
What's the difference? I'm very curious.
African men have more respect for each other than we do in our community because if it's just a man thing. They're more they think about things before they act more or less than some of our brothers do in America. So
give me a very simple example because maybe there's somebody out there that want to understand what you're trying to say.
So there's a conflict.
Okay.
Imagine there's a conflict.
Yeah.
And I've seen you have a discussion with somebody. You're very stern.
Yeah.
But it was soft tone.
Sure.
Whatever. And you're a guy you can kill somebody. But you're not thinking about that.
He's lying.
You're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
Whereas if that had been two Americans that close, you're kind of thinking like, man, we don't know how this is going to go.
Okay.
Yeah, because one person may feel easily disrespected by the person just saying something. So I feel like African men handle things more with more respect on average than we may do it. So I think that when the men see themselves, they want to be the leader. They're going to be the dominant person. Doesn't mean that they're going to be a bad person, but they want to enforce their rule over their household.
Yeah.
Which is something that in America, a black man can't really do because of feminism, because of how I grew up.
Do you feel like there's a difference in terms of family in Africa compared to African Americans?
Sure.
What's the difference?
The difference is they're intact.
Okay.
Our family has been broken up the last 50, 60 years.
Okay. Please explain that to the people. Many people don't understand what that means.
So we used to be the most married group in America.
Yeah. The African American community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then through policies, Lyndon Johnson and the Great Society program, our women started being elevated over the men.
Okay.
A lot of our men also died in the wars, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War. A lot of them came back and were displaced, couldn't get jobs. Then the heroin addiction came. And then the crack era came in the 80s.
Addiction within the African American community.
That was in the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
That kind of wiped out a lot of our talent.
Yeah.
Then abortions wiped out a lot of our potential people.
Okay. And abortion was when it was allowed to the community, you can now have an abortion.
Yes.
Okay. Because many people were scared back in time to have reckless sexual activity because they were too scared to bear children.
Right.
They didn't want the responsibility of having babies.
Right.
But then they passed a law where people could now have abortion at will.
Yes.
Then people felt like, you know what? I can go and play with no protection. It's okay. Yeah. Go.
The crack era affected my dad was on crack.
Okay.
Cocaine for many years, like 12 years, something like that. It wiped us out, so things like that, you lose a connection. You may even hate your dad at certain points. Because
absolutely.
Your mom could even tell you wrong things about your dad, not true.
Yeah.
So your mom's a leader. You don't have the father to teach you. Like I saw the post you made about your father and mom and married for 60 years, something like that.
Yeah, yes. Oh, you saw that.
It's something that we don't see.
Yeah.
So
50 years of marriage. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of the ladies that are becoming more modern because they're seeing things on TV, Cardi B, whatever. So they're like, well, I don't want to live a traditional African wife. Some of them might not want to do that. So they think like, oh, if I can get a white person or an American man.
Why white person? Why is that?
That's how they can think, some of the ladies.
So you're saying black American women feel like getting a white man?
No. I'm talking about African ladies, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So they feel like you're more likely to release money quicker. You're more likely to give them an easier life. They have more freedom than dealing with an African guy. But I'll tell you what, they end up going back to the African guy anyway. So
it's crazy.
Most of them, they take the money from the American guys and they go back to the African guys at the end of the day.
You got me lost there, right, a little bit. I was trying to get you to explain to us why the African American family is broken. You were breaking that down. You got to a point where the crack cocaine and everything happened, and then we
Okay.
I'm just want to give good context to the people who have never heard of the story. Of, because I know the viewers, my viewers are both American, Caribbeans, and Africans.
Okay.
So an American would easily understand.
Right.
You know what I mean? An African person doesn't quite understand what's happened. That's why I was commenting and saying. So I want you to break it. I want it to come from you. You got to a point where you were saying the crack cocaine.
Yes.
Then I would like you to explain why you cannot see today many families where there's a father and a mother in a black household.
Yes.
So I'd like you to explain. That's why you see many families in Africa. There's only in America. There's only a grandmother and a mother. It's more female like. There's no husband. I need you to understand that. I need you to explain that to the viewers.
So, the whites really wanted to destabilize us ever since slavery, after slavery. So they did that by, and they're even trying to do it in Africa. You see a lot of rise of women, pushing women forward, which is okay, but
pushing women forward
over the man,
so they can be better than men.
Yes.
Then they can start comparing themselves with men.
Yes.
Okay.
But what that does, it has a negative impact on the family because now the man is not incentivized to want to try to take care of you. He doesn't want to be with you
because you have money,
or you think you have money. Something like that. So so that with the men going to prison, because we're the number one group going to prison in that time.
Yeah.
Dying in wars, dying of drugs. And so you have like less men anyway now, right? So that really, so by the time my dad was on the crack epidemic, my mom wanted a divorce. So a lot of us as young men, we didn't grow up with our dads teaching us how to be men. Okay. Luckily for me, I had an older brother, I had a grandfather. Okay. But so many men didn't have it. So when it came time for them to get in relationships, they didn't know how to lead. They didn't know how to provide. And so a lot of women were looking at them as little boys. You would see guys driving their girlfriend's car, men not being responsible, men not wanting to take care of their community, men not wanting to step up.
And a man can only be, most of the time, a reflection of what he saw from his father.
Yes.
Usually when you see a man being aggressive to a woman, if you look very carefully, most of the time you'll see his father was aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like I'll give him a simple example. My dad used to give, my mom used to earn much more money than my father. Mm-hmm. But my father as a man, every time he could, would bring a present or whatever he could to my mom. Mm-hmm. With his very, very small salary. Mm-hmm. He worked for government and stuff, very small salary, but he will always make sure my mom is good. Mm-hmm. And I never saw them fight. Mm-hmm. Never ever saw my dad and mom fight with each other. Mm-hmm. Of course, they're a couple, they have ups and downs, mm-hmm. but you will never sense it. Mm-hmm. You can only know when you see my dad come out of the bedroom, wear his shoes and leave. Then they fought.
Okay.
And me as a man, when I grew up, obviously I want to reflect what my dad used to do.
Right.
My responsibility as a man, an African man, I know I need to take care of a woman.
Yes.
I know that. That's part of our culture.
Yes.
It's maybe not very valid in America, where I don't know, you're going to explain to us. Mm-hmm. But to us, a man has to take care of everything.
Yes.
There's no splitting.
Yes.
That's our responsibilities.
Yes.
You go in most households in Africa, there's a father, there's a mother, there's children.
Yes.
That's families.
Yes.
Very rarely you find a family where there's no father, it's only a woman and kids.
Right.
In very few countries in Africa, let me say maybe South Africa is one of them, where I would think they did a very similar negative thing to the black community,
yes.
the way they did in the United States, yes. where you'll find a lot of families where there's only a grandmother, mm-hmm. a mother, and children. Mm-hmm. So basically, when the mother is pregnant, she gives birth. She gives the child to the grandmother. Mm-hmm. The grandmother keeps the child. She goes to work. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to split the family so that African community have no power.
Right.
And they will send men to go work in mines,
right.
go, very far away. So, when you take the men away from the community loses something.
It loses everything. You don't get businesses. Mm-hmm. You don't get development. Because men, we want to win.
Absolutely.
It's about winning.
Yeah.
It's about, we have ideas. We want to dominate. So, even right now, we're recording a podcast.
Yep.
There are no women here, right? The men are, they're doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
You need that. So when you take that out, you don't have it, and if you have men that don't know that's their responsibility, you're in a lot of trouble.
Do you feel like people within the African American community understand the importance of having a father in the house, a man in the house?
No. Not in the younger generations. Not like we did. See, the black community, when I was coming up, it kind of started dying in the 90s. I have a good friend, Dr. Ronald Neal, who has a hypothesis that the black community died in 1995. So if you ever seen the movie called Medea by Tyler Perry, Medea is an African-American term for grandma, mother dear, ma dear.
Okay.
So those women that came from the South, Alabama, and we had the Great Migration. So those of us that came out of slavery, we lived in the South, Louisiana, Florida, Texas, Mississippi, Arkansas. So we moved to the greater cities for opportunity, Chicago, Detroit, LA, up north in the West. So those people who had those good, let's say, village kind of backgrounds, we used to live in the country, like the village. So when they came to America, we had that, you're going to go to church. You're going to be your granddad was still there. You're going to be a man of God. You're going to take care of your woman. Don't let no woman run you.
Yes.
That teaching, which I got, some of the kids didn't get it.
Yeah.
Because the dad got locked up or dad got killed. So
and we know many African Americans in jail for whatever reason. They're trying to put them in jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's the difference you think is between, after experiencing African women, between African women and African American women in terms of the teaching they've gotten from family? What are the differences?
Well, I think the difference is, let me just say in Uganda, because some countries are could be
no
a
problem.
Bit,
Let's go with you. We are in Uganda right now. If you want to be part of this,
I had a South African girlfriend, and she was very.
She was different.
Yeah, she was different. And Kenyans can be like that too, but I'll say it in general.
Okay.
Uganda, Kenya, I could speak of that most. Yes. They're less likely to be argumentative with a man. Almost never.
Never argue with you.
Not to the point where you don't feel like
challenging you.
No,
they don't challenge you.
Not as much. No.
Okay.
An American woman can be. Let me just say this also. There's like no 50-50. In Uganda or Kenya, right? That's like a woman expects you to do everything. Like you need to be the breadwinner to do everything.
In Kenya and Africa.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to do everything. American woman will also take it, but the respect of not seeing that as a woman growing up, she's probably less likely to appreciate seeing what she's never had.
So do you feel like one of the reasons why they don't appreciate that is because they've never really
had it, yeah.
Never. So most African American women have never really had a father figure. Most of them. Can you say that?
No.
That's very difficult.
Not a father living in the house.
That's very.
They may know their dad, but
it's extremely difficult.
Yeah.
The thing is, I went to the States. I was in America for training for sports, and I remember somebody was trying to be nasty to me, and they say, "Oh, if you have a father, you'll be a better human being." I was like, I don't understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? And she was a Mexican person.
Okay.
If you have a father, you'll be a better human being. She was trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
But she couldn't hurt me because...
You had a father.
Yeah, because the guy that was with me was African American. He got really pissed off.
Oh, okay.
So I was trying to understand, why are you upset? No, actually, come talk to us. I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. She just said to you, if you had a father, you would be a better human being. I'm like, I have a father.
Right.
My father's home.
But she thought you probably African American. Yeah. She's trying to...
My father's home. So it's very difficult, and I can understand it's very difficult. My father never really beat me up, but my father beat up. I was the last born. I was lucky.
Okay.
He punished my brothers when they did wrong. Yeah. He will straighten them. He will tell them things. My mom was very strong, but they worked together in the communities. It was never, if a child goes to the dad asking for something, if my father say no, and he goes to my mom asking, my mom will say no, because they're working together. Yeah. And you grow up in that community, you understand the structure. Mm-hmm. To us, it's daddy, mommy, children. There's no, we are equal. There's no equality. No, I'm sorry. I'm just put it straight.
It's how it should be.
There's no equality stuff. The bottom line is, by saying there's no equality doesn't mean we're putting women low.
No.
Absolutely not. It just means we understand they are superior. In fact, we know that.
Yes.
We don't say it. But when it comes to decisions, when it comes to security, when it comes to direction, leadership, you're the man, you're the lion.
Yes.
If somebody comes in front of your gates, you should be outside standing in the name of your family.
Yes.
That's what we learn.
Yes.
And a man can only treat a woman based on how he saw his father do.
Yes.
Yes. A woman can only treat a man the way she saw a mother do to her dad.
Right.
It's very simple.
Right.
And I'm not saying African women are not problematic. You find some that are very problematic. But the majority, you see the humility that they have.
Yeah.
It's usually because they saw their mom be humble.
Yes.
And being humble as a woman in Africa, it doesn't mean you're suffering. Doesn't mean you're a slave.
Right.
We embrace being leaders.
Right.
They embrace being feminine.
Right.
And everybody just plays. It's like an orchestra.
Yes.
This one is a guitarist. The other one plays piano, and everything just flows together.
Right.
And how do you think that can get better in America?
It can't get better in America. They won't let it get better in America.
Do people want to get married in America?
No, not like they used to. For
what?
what?
Black people don't want to get married to each other.
Well, black people. First of all, I think that and Kevin Samuels was very big on this. I think that the question is because men would typically want to get married.
Yeah.
That we have, divorces are very expensive in America.
Yeah.
So what is your incentive? If you have a lady that doesn't have a father and she is not going to be able to understand that, and you maybe didn't have your father, well, of course, it's going to be destruction. And so that's why you're going to get a high divorce rate in the black community. So a lot of guys,
in Africa, people don't really divorce. You don't find that.
I think like Nigeria had like a 1% divorce rate 1 year,
people,
something like that.
If you hear people divorce in Africa, it means somebody was beating on somebody. It was physical. She just happened to meet somebody really violent. It was just very, very dramatic. But most of the time, people keep together because marriage in Africa is not about the party. It's not about the dress. It's not about the pictures. It's a lifetime commitment. It's not an emotion. It's not a feeling. I want to marry you now. No, I'm upset now. I don't want you no more. We don't have that.
Right.
When I marry you, whether I'm happy or I'm not happy, I'm still here. We're still together. Don't talk to me, but we're still here. Okay? Take whatever issue you have, put it in a box. We're going to open that box tomorrow because it's too hot right now. That's how we are. Like, it's burning right now. We're not going to talk about it.
Right.
Let's put it in a box. We're going to open the box tomorrow. How about that? Okay, so in the meantime, let's eat together. So how was your work? That's how we are. We don't fight over something trying to find a solution immediately.
Yeah, well, that's how we used to be able to know how to do that.
Yeah.
But I think in Africa, see, the reason why Africa, because men can be men in Africa. Even Meek Mill said he wants to move to Ghana.
Oh, really?
Because he's tired of the effemination of black men. And now we have a lot, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but the more single moms we've had more of an acceptance of the black men being emasculated, wearing dresses, going to other lifestyle, And that's always been there, I'm sure, but not like it is now.
Yeah.
And a lack of men are leading a lot of young men into, even if they're not gay, they just process things in a very effeminate way, a very emotional
in America.
way.
Oh, because they grew up with the sisters and the mothers and the grandmother.
The dad's not there, so they don't like a man. Like when my granny used to get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
and I knew when I was from the gate, you're gonna work. You're gonna take care of your wife. Okay. You're gonna take care of your mother. Like that. Those things were taught to me at a young age.
But then those things need to be appreciated by somebody.
Yeah.
Well, it's like something you have to offer. Somebody has to be a recipient.
Yes.
They need to understand what you bring into the table.
There you go.
Because if they don't understand what you bring into the table, then it's a waste of energy.
There you go.
And that's the dynamic that's very necessary to bring a mother and a father in a family.
Right.
I've got friends. If you don't have a father, he wants nothing to do with you. Doesn't care how good looking you are as a female.
Yeah, I don't
know.
How
intelligent you are as a female. Because he feels like you're going to get to a point where you're going to have to manage issues and problems and difficulties. Because every relationship or marriage to a certain stage, you're going to go through hurdles and difficulties.
Yeah.
Now, if you have never witnessed your mom deal with your dad in difficult times, you wouldn't know how to deal with it.
No, it's going to be a disaster.
And I'm not saying everybody's like that. A very small number of female who have never witnessed parents being together can actually learn to deal with difficulties from maybe an aunt or not the majority, unfortunately, have issues with that.
Some of them, their grandma's not married, Grandma ain't got no husband. So where are you going to learn it? And then if you're a man, I hate to say this, but if you're a man with options, you have optionality, you're a successful man. Let me just rephrase it, especially in Africa.
Yeah.
An African man will not put up with that level of disrespect.
What kind of disrespect is that?
The same level of disrespect like you're talking about.
Yeah.
A man in Africa has so many opportunities that it's like, if he's doing well, you talk about here today, gone tomorrow, like within 1 minute, you're gone. Get your stuff and get out now.
African man.
Now. Like, the other girl's on her way over.
What are you waiting?
It's that quick.
Yeah.
So, and women understand that here. If you're dealing with a guy that's successful, he don't have to tell you many times. In America, I think a lot of guys, we're so used to trying to work things out and allowing ourselves to be disrespected. But an African man, that's what I like about being African.
Yeah.
African man not taking any type of shit like that. Oh, hold on. Can I curse?
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, the thing is, what I would like you to explain to the people is, giving away your power to a man it's not an issue, not in Africa, because I understand in the US, number one, many females are scared to not be able to control their own. I want to have my own things, my own car, my own apartment.
Yes.
In Africa, it doesn't mean anything. Your value is not based on how much money you have as a female, the job you have as a female, a car you have, or whatever that is. You can have all that and still be a good person, a good woman to your husband,
right?
And still let him lead,
okay?
Right? And it's not a competition,
right?
Let me put it that way,
right?
Women in Africa go get a degree so they can accompany the men in their household. It feels to me, from experience I'm getting, that women in America, African Americans, go to university so they can compete with the African black man.
Yeah,
can we say that?
I can say that that's an American problem in general, but surely, like I said, we have a saying: when white people sniffle, black people get the flu. So
Jesus,
whatever affects them really hurts us. So yeah, it's a big issue, and the women think that they're better than you. And as a man that was doing good in America, earning a lot of money, you're taking it back. You're like, wow, like this energy from you to me. And I mean, it's good that you're doing very well, but it's not all ladies, right?
Sure.
But if you don't understand it, because women don't know the power of men. Like when I come to Africa, it was one of the first times in my life that it kind of forced me into building the community amongst men and just seeing how powerful men are.
Yeah.
Because in America, we all work for the white man or work for a white company. Very few of us have established our own companies because we get educated and then we go work for them. All right. In Africa, ain't no jobs here. You have to create what you have. So then it's important for you to get the men together in the community, which is what we do. So then now we have to start seeing like, okay, we're all working the overnight. You're working the overnight. We're working at 7 in the morning. Yep. We have to bring the resources into the business. And when you see how powerful men are, and it's from a firsthand experience, you're like, damn, man, like these guys are really.
There's one more thing. I get you. There's one more thing. You mentioned earlier about, the horrendous work they did in the 1960s, 1970s to destroy the black household.
Yes.
Okay, they brought in capitalism to separate the man from the woman. So money was the issue. Okay, who's winning, who's getting better, who's doing good, should be the boss.
Yes,
and unfortunately, it feels like today it's still the same thing.
Yes,
within the American in general community.
Yes,
it feels to me like money plays a massive role in terms of choices of marriages and partnerships and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I get a sense that in America, before somebody looks at you, they ask you how much money you make a year. We don't have that in Africa. Is that the reality you have?
It's the very big reality.
Because my perspective is this. You don't get a man because he makes $400,000 a year. You get a man because he's a good leader in your family. He's a pastor. He's the security in your house. He's the glue to the family. You get a man because with him you have direction. Because you have structure. Okay? So it's not just limited to money, how much money you provide. Because money does not resolve everything in Africa.
Right.
It feels to me like money is the issue. How much money makes a year.
Yes. That's the issue.
It sounds to me like China. Like, yeah. It shouldn't be that way. I think a man has so much to provide. So does the woman in a household than just money. It's great. Look, let me put it this way for you. This is how I see life. If you work, great.
Right. Exactly.
You want to work? Awesome.
That's good.
If you're my woman and you don't want to work, you want to stay home.
It's also good.
We're good.
Yes.
I don't see you any different because you don't work.
Right.
I don't perceive you as a lower. You're not bringing in. I don't need your money.
Right.
Because I grew up in a place where my dad never took money from my mom.
Right.
I don't need you to bring anything on the table like that. Like all I need you is to be a good person. Obviously, a helper. Like I'm a Christian, like the Bible says. Be my friend. Be somebody that sees things that I cannot see. Okay, because we have 4 eyes. Right. If I don't see, you should be able to see it. If I don't spot it, you should be able to.
That's why wisdom is a female word, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't need you to bring money. Well, I mean, it's nice if you bring money, but money is not what I want you for.
Exactly.
I mean, if I need money, I find a money partner.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're a female, you should be able to see things in my business that I don't see, mistakes that are made that I don't see. You can see them. If I want to fire somebody, you should be able to say, baby, I don't think you should fire him. I think you should give him another chance. He's maybe not good as a worker, but you cannot buy loyalty. He's a loyal person. You know what I mean? I want somebody who's able to look at my friend and say, I don't think this guy's your friend.
Right.
I don't need your money for that.
Right.
I need your
intuition.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's a massive difference.
Yeah. Well, I think men that are successful all over the world think like you. It's not just an African thing. I think anybody that has money and doing well will have that perspective. Mm-hmm. Which is why you see a lot of these older models now getting pregnant by these young guys because nobody wants them in America. So it's true. Yeah. But in Africa, I believe that you're more likely. I think the most American guys from the community, if they were to come here, there's no way that they can go back.
Would you suggest to Americans who are watching us to come to Africa, specifically in Uganda?
It depends on what their expectations are going to be. But I think it would be a good eye opener for sure. I think it's great to come here. Yeah. I think it's come here and great to build a relationship, although it could be difficult. Yeah. But man, it has so much upside.
Would you marry an Ugandan girl?
Yes,
I would. Would you marry an Ugandan?
I would.
You would marry?
I would, yes. Okay.
Why would you? 3 reasons why you marry an Ugandan girl.
I think first of all, number one, it's not even about it. Just the person from Uganda, right? Yeah. It's a lady trustworthy, which you can find here.
Trustworthy.
Yes.
Do you think Ugandans shit that up?
A woman can be trustworthy anywhere.
Great stuff. Right? I'm just playing. Let's go. Let's go.
Do you and also there's a lot of femininity here.
Femininity, no doubt.
Family cultural values here. Yeah. I think that's enough to build on. As a man, you bring your own culture in.
Sure. Trustworthy and femininity.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
And willing to be in listening to what a man is. In America, African American, obviously, that's where I'm from. Mm-hmm. I could definitely do that too. Yeah. But of course, you're going to have that maybe more problem with what my role is and what her role is. Whereas here, it's defined. You're this and I'm that.
You don't think they can adapt to through talking, discussing, trying to find solutions together, understanding each other?
An African American?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the person. Okay. I think it depends on the person. The person has to want that for themselves. If the woman doesn't want that for herself, no matter how much you love her, you can love each other, but it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. She wants to want this for herself and this role with the person that's like me. And if she wants that, it's easier to get.
You don't think maybe this is an environmental issue? The fact you are in America, you are set as an African American to think in a certain way.
Sure.
And maybe you need to get out of America for a little bit. Or maybe go to another community for a little bit, to a Mexican community. Pay Airbnb for 1 month or something. Just see how they live and compare and see how you feel about their way of life. Because it feels to me like Mexicans are also family-oriented.
Very much.
The father, the mother, and
very
stuff
much.
Like that.
And very successful now.
And why wouldn't an African-American want that for themselves?
I think that also, this is a very controversial take, but because, see, we've been in the country for a while. Yeah. So these other groups, we feel like, have come in on the behest of our labor. So, and now that they're successful, it is very hard to say, well, go to this Hispanic household. It's too personal for a lot of
absolutely
for a lot of people. So I think that yes, they do a lot of things right. I wish we were more like that, but certain people were not, being so emotional about how our contribution to America has not been taken, or how we feel have been taken for granted. It's very difficult for people to want to look at how some other people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
O'Shea Duke Jackson, your best African country in terms of experience.
Kenya.
What do you like about Kenya?
Everything. Kenya is number one.
Okay. Your best country in terms of people.
Yeah. Man, I'd have to say Uganda.
Yeah. Why Uganda?
Man, Ugandans, it's just like it's like a movie. You know what I mean? Like there's never no day is like the same. You know what I mean? It's excitement every day. It's like a Netflix thing. So
your best country in terms of tourism in Africa.
I had a really good time in Nigeria. Yeah, I only stayed on the island, but Nigeria was fantastic. It's a place I could definitely live in, for sure.
O'Shea Duke Jackson, thank you very much. I appreciate you, my brother. I know this is not the last time. We will definitely do lots of things together, fellas. Thank you for having this great man with us today. God bless.
All right.